So today we're going to be talking about my start to finish workflow while shooting ProRes on the iPhone 13 Pro Max to get results like these. So first let's start with the gear. Like I said, I am shooting with the iPhone 13 Pro Max to get this ProRes setting that now comes on the new phone. Now as far as gear goes, I like to shoot with my iPhone on my Ronin RS2, and I like to use the moment lens selection that they have available right now. And if you guys are interested in what the moment lenses look like, go ahead and subscribe because I am going to be releasing a video where I'm testing out all of these lenses on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now while filming, I like to keep my shutter speed double the frame rate, and so to do this, I have to use an ND filter. I've had a lot of problems with variable ND filters while filming on my iPhone. However, I did find one that works really well, and I'll be leaving that one linked below in the description. Now there are a few other things that you do need to make all this gear work with your iPhone, and I'll be leaving all those little things linked below in the description as well. And the app that I like to use while shooting on my phone is the Filmic Pro app. And the first setting that I always go in and change is the resolution to make sure that I am maxed out at the quality that I want to be at. And for me that's 422 HQ, and I like to shoot in ProRes 709. Now after I set my resolution to 422 HQ, I like to go over and set my frame rate. Now for me, in most of my videos that I shoot, I either like to shoot in 29 frames per second or 23 frames per second. Now after I set that in my camera, the next thing that I like to go do is set up my shutter speed. So again, for my shutter speed, I like to maintain double my frame rate. So for me, that's about 1/60. And the closest that I'm able to get is 58, and so that works well. Now next, I like to go over into my white balance and set whatever white balance setting I need to set for the environment that I'm in. Now the best way to do this that I've found so far is by using a white balance card and setting it where you're going to be filming, filling up most of the frame with that card, and then hitting the auto white balance button until you get to the blue one. And then once you're there, you want to again fill up the entire frame with the white balance card, and then I like to hold down the A, and I like to save these values to preset. And what that does is lock in the white balance for you so that you don't have to go back in there and set it up every single time for all the different shots you're going to be getting in the same location. Next, I like to make sure I'm in autofocus, and to do that, you have this rectangular box on the screen. I double tap that, I make sure it's not red, and then it's going to be autofocusing to whatever is in the center of the frame. Now the last setting is that I want to make sure that I'm on a standard camera because this one gets you the highest quality that I found so far. Now the next step is importing your footage, and to be honest, this is the most difficult part of the entire process. Now the reason for this is because Apple has not yet adopted the USB-C port, so you still get slower transfer speeds through the lightning port to your computer. Now hopping onto your computer, there are basically two applications that I like to use whenever transferring the footage over from my smartphone to my computer. The first application is the application called iMazing. This basically gives you full capability of your smartphone with backups, transferring data, and really doing a lot of things that's really difficult to do with other applications. Now this is a paid application. However, the second application is a free application that comes already on your computer, and it's called Image Capture. Now the reason why you want to use applications like these whenever transferring the footage from your smartphone to your computer is one, because of the amount of time that it takes. Sometimes it's taking me over 2 hours to get the footage from my smartphone to my computer. Now during that time, I've had multiple crashes, but because I use these different softwares, it takes it clip by clip. So that means that the clips that have already been downloaded are saved to the computer. So I don't have to start over from scratch whenever importing the footage from my smartphone to my computer whenever there's a crash. Next, we're going to jump into Davinci Resolve. Now you can set your project settings to whatever you want it to be, and the way that you get to that is by hitting this gear icon over here in the bottom of the corner. Now for me, I like to do 3840 by 1920, and then the next thing that you want to make sure that you change is your color manage settings, and you want that to be Davinci YRGB color managed. This is going to give you a lot more flexibility out of your footage as you're color grading it in post. Now if you don't have Davinci Resolve, you can actually download a free version of this software online and get most of the capabilities that you need out of this software. There'll be links below in the description to this software as well. Now after that, you're ready to start cutting up your footage. Now over under the color tab, you want to make sure that you have your waveforms pulled up so that you can see exactly where your image is as far as lighting goes. Next, I like to jump over into my primary wheels and do a little bit of work over here. First, I'm going to start by pulling my gain down because I can see that we're kind of clipping out over here. Then I'm going to go over here to my highlights, pull that down as well until I find something that's a good medium. And then I'm going to pull my gamma up because I do see some vignetting from the corners with the ND filter that I was using, and that was really just because I was using such a wide angle lens from the Moment collection. And I do want to make that clear, it doesn't matter how good the ND filter is, whenever you're using wide angle lenses, it's very difficult to not get any vignetting or distortion because you're shooting so wide. And whenever you shoot wide, the image is already going to be vignetting in some way or distorting in some way. Now next we're going to jump over here and we're going to add a little bit of detail. I usually like to do 40, and then we're going to jump into our saturation. We're going to crank that up to maybe 65. And we can see that we're kind of getting this yellowish, greenish vibe. And I think that I'm going to stick with that for now. Next, we're going to pull down our lift a little bit so we can get some contrast. And then we're simply just going to go up here and add a little bit more contrast. Now let's give this image a little bit of a boost of color. Let's start with 5 and see where that takes us. All right, let's go to 10, see where that takes us. And I like that a lot. Now I do want to make this image a little bit less warm. So to do that, I'm just going to go over here to my temperature and pull it down a little bit towards the blues. And I'm going to say somewhere right there is pretty nice. Now when I was shooting with the lenses, I did not have them oriented the correct way. So because of that, this image isn't as sharp as it could be with these lenses. So to try to help fix that, I'm gonna go over here into my blur, and I'm just gonna pull down the radius to about 45. And what this does is sharpen up the image quite a bit. Now as you can see, you're gonna get a stuttery playback because you've done this. Now to fix this, you wanna go over here to the node, you wanna right click on it, and then you wanna go over here to node cache, you wanna turn that on. Now to activate that, you have to go up here to playback, you wanna go to render cache, and you wanna turn it to user. Now after you've done that, the number on the node should turn red, and whenever it turns blue, that means that it's done rendering and it will have a smooth playback. Now if you set up your white balance pretty well, a lot of times all you have to do is go over here to your next clip and then go to your last clip, but don't click it, right click on it and then hit apply grade. And you're gonna get a pretty good grade if you've maintained the same settings while shooting. And we're gonna do that again. So we're gonna go over here to our third clip, we're gonna right click on the second clip and hit apply grade. And that actually looks pretty good. The only thing is that this image is definitely a lot darker, and so to fix that, I'm gonna go over here into my gamma, and I'm just gonna pull that up just a little bit. Just something like that right there. Now this is the reason why you wanna make sure that you get the correct white balance when shooting, because if you don't do this, you're gonna have a difficult time trying to correct the colors between each and every shot. Next, I'm gonna jump back over here into my editing tab, and I'm gonna fix this border issue that I have with this clip by just zooming it in until I don't see it anymore. So I'm gonna do the same thing, and this time I'm just gonna go over here and type it in, 1.2. Now whenever I'm exporting and uploading to YouTube, I do like to make sure that I'm doing that in ProRes 422HQ, because that gives me a pretty high codec. Whenever you upload to YouTube, they actually do decrease the quality of the video, and so I wanna give it the best quality that I can give it. Now this will give you a very big file, but again, I prefer that over having a lower quality video online. So you wanna choose wherever you want that to be located, and then you wanna go down here, and you wanna check use consistent bitrate, and you want to add that to your rendering queue, and then you want to export, and you're done. And that's it, you're ready to roll. I hope this video helped you out in some way, and if you would like me to dive more specifically and more detailedly into one of these topics that I talked about, just let me know in the comment section below and I can make a future video.